Hey everyone, and welcome to the Gilbert.K Show. Today, we've got an absolute powerhouse in the world of film and television. Someone who has truly done it all. From the basketball courts of Rust College to the bright lights of Hollywood, this man has carved an incredible path as a multi-award-winning actor, producer, director, and all-around creative force. You've seen him on Better Call Saul, Doom Patrol, Fatal Attraction, and the Netflix hit Amateur. He's worked with some of the biggest names in the industry, and his journey is nothing short of inspiring. Please give a warm welcome to the incredibly talented Ketrick Jazz Copeland.
Hey, Ketrick, how are you today?
Hey, I'm doing great, Gilbert. How are you?
Very good, very good. Before we dive in, let's take a moment to watch a clip from your reel.
Okay.
Court is in session. The Honorable Judge Watford presiding. Anyone using electronic devices will be escorted out.
Okay, so let's start. Could you start telling me a little bit about yourself and what sparked your interest in acting?
So I'm originally from a small town in Mississippi. It's called Senatobia, Mississippi. I played college basketball. I went to college and played basketball for 4 years. And then I moved to Denver several years after I graduated college. And I started playing professional basketball, which is why I moved to Denver. And then from there, I kind of got into acting, and here I am today.
Excellent. And what was one of the most memorable experience when you started out?
One of the most memorable experiences when I started out is, well, actually a few years after I got into acting. The first time I met a A-list actor on set, or a big time actor, as I like to call him. I met Lou Diamond Phillips when I was working on a film called Created Equal. We filmed it in New Orleans, and he was like really, really cool, and he talked to me most of the time when we had downtime, and we actually sat at the table and we ate lunch together, and he started calling me Jazzy Jazz, and we just had a great time, and it just felt good to be able to sit beside someone of his caliber and to be able to
Mhm.
feel so comfortable. So that was one of the most memorable moments during this journey.
Okay, excellent. So, Ketrick, how did you know that you had a gift for acting? Was it when you were young or when you were older? How did you find out that you're interested in
Well,
that field?
when I was younger, I had a small interest in acting because when I went to class my senior year in my literature class, we would read plays and
Mm,
out of the textbook, and I would always try to act out the character. And I kind of felt a little something, but I didn't really know at the time that it's really what I wanted to do, because at the time basketball was my number one priority, and
yeah.
so I always would do different things as a kid. Now that I look back on it after I got into acting, I used to do these different voices, and I
Mhm.
would record myself on this old school tape recorder, and I play my voice back, and I would just do different things. Now that that I'm looking back several years later, I think that the gift was always there. I just didn't recognize it, or I didn't act on it at the time. So I
Mhm.
would definitely say back in high school, it kind of sparked an interest.
Mhm. Interesting. And how would you describe yourself in 3 words?
I would describe myself in 3 words as resilient, persistent, and consistent.
Yeah, I guess that's what you need in this industry to
Yes,
have all three.
most definitely.
Yes. So what's one fact about you that most people might not know?
One fact about me that most people might not know is I used to be a sports agent. I used to represent overseas players who wanted to go overseas to play professional basketball. And a lot of people
Wow,
don't know that.
that's interesting. It's very interesting. And what hobbies do you have, and what do you do for fun other than acting?
The hobbies and the things that I do for fun outside of acting is I love to go bowling. I'm always going to the Improv Comedy Club on the weekends. I love to see the different comedians come in town and put on a great show. And I just spend time with my daughter when I can.
Excellent. Okay, so let's move on to the next segment of the show. The game is this or that, and the theme is acting.
Okay.
Basically, I'll give you two options, and you have to pick the one you like the most or the one that fits you better. There are no wrong answers, and you don't need to explain your choice unless you want to. It's all about quick, fun decisions for the audience to get to know you better. Are you ready, Jazz?
I'm ready.
Okay, let's go. Method acting or winging it?
Winging it.
Oscar speech or dramatic meltdown?
Oscar speech.
Villain role or goofy sidekick?
Villain role.
Cry on cue or fake laugh?
Fake laugh.
Green screen or real stunts?
Green screen.
Shakespearean monologue or soap opera drama?
Soap opera drama.
Flub a line or trip on set?
Flub line.
Stage fright or horrible accent?
Stage fright.
Improv genius or script stickler?
Improv genius.
Hollywood blockbuster or indie masterpiece?
Indie masterpiece.
Okay, let's move on to another segment. Can you tell me a little bit about the journey or inspiration behind your work or project?
The journey and inspiration behind my work. I love the opportunity to be able to become someone that I'm not in real life. I love to be able to entertain people, regardless if it's making people laugh, making people cry, or making people angry because of my character. I just love to be able to inspire people in that way, and I just love to be able to do great work because in real life I'm a nice person. A lot of people say I'm a big teddy bear, but sometimes I end up playing villain roles where I'm a bad guy
Mhm.
and people don't like me. So, and if that's the case, then I feel that I've done my job. So that's the inspiration behind my work.
Excellent. And how did your experience shape your approach or to acting?
My experience, I'll take it back to when I played professional basketball. A lot of things that I did when I was playing professional basketball, it kind of shaped and molded me for my acting career. One thing that I can say is being on time. So being on time as an actor is very important, especially when you go to set. You need to be on time. Actually, you need to be there early because if you're on time, they say that you're late. So being on time and just being responsible and being professional at all times and watching how you conduct yourself. So those experiences from my professional basketball days definitely shaped and molded me for the acting
Mhm.
career that I'm involved in right now.
Excellent. Can you tell me what interests you in a project? If somebody, a producer or director, approach you, what kind of projects are you interested in? And is it the crew, the people, the cast, or the script? What interests you?
Um, Well, the first thing that interests me is the script. When I'm approached by a producer or a director, and I love collaborating with producers and directors directly. When they approach me and they let me know that they have me in mind for a role, and they send me over the script, I look at the script, I look at the role that they have me in mind for, and if the role speaks to me, or if I'm feeling it like in my soul,
Mhm.
then that's the first step that will definitely get my interest. And then after that, it's not so much the cast or the crew that works on the film. If I really
Yeah,
love the script and the script is good and the character speaks to me, then we definitely we can move forward in the process and kind of go from there. And then once I'm on set and I find out who I'm working with, Um, from my experiences, I've had great experiences so far. So I've worked with a lot of great castmates up until this point.
Okay. So tell our audience, how do you prepare, if you have a script, how do you prepare for the role? Do you do any research? Do you, how do you, what do you do? Do you break it down? What do
Mhm.
you do?
Depending on the role, I definitely do my research. If it's a type of character that I'm not familiar with or that I've never portrayed before, I'll definitely do some research and just kind of get an idea of how that character acts or how that character might dress. Just say, for example, uh, maybe an FBI agent or a U.S. Marshal or something like that. If I get that type of role, I'll always do research as far as seeing how they dress and the type of things that they do, the type of responsibilities that they handle, so I can kind of get in that mindset to know, how I'm going to portray that character.
Okay, great. And are you type of person who would like to rehearse before you jump into the role, or because some directors basically they do a table read and that's it, and then they start filming.
Mhm.
What type of yeah.
Yeah, I like to rehearse if possible. A lot of situations are different. Sometimes you don't get a chance to rehearse or do a
Yeah.
table read, which is fine because sometimes everything is last minute and it starts moving so fast. And you have actors from different parts of the world coming in to take part in this production. You don't always get a chance to rehearse, but if I get an opportunity to rehearse, I definitely take advantage of that. And sometimes if I have enough time and I find out who the castmates are, sometimes I'll try to reach out to them and see if maybe we can do a few rehearsals through Zoom,
Mhm.
outside of the director or anything, just to kind of get a feel for each other and to, see if we can build a little chemistry leading up to the day of the shoot. But it's not always possible. But when I can, I
Mhm.
definitely take advantage of it.
And how do you prepare? Is it the same process you do for auditioning? Um,
Yeah, it's just a slightly different. I usually will break the character down, see what the character is, what the character is doing, who the character is, and sometimes I'll try to create a little backstory. Not all the time I create backstory, and I break it down and try to develop the character, see who it is, and then I start breaking the script down, going through the scene. As far as audition, you don't always get the whole script. A lot of times you
mhm.
just get the sides or you get a couple scenes just so they can kind of get an idea of if you even fit the character and if they want to move on from there. So I'll break it down. I'll start learning my lines and then I knock the audition out and then I move on to the next. I've learned to I've learned to train my mind to not get attached to auditions. You do the audition, you send it in, you move on, and you go on to the next and not get married or attached to it because yeah, there'll be roles that you want more than others. You'll be like, oh man, I really want that role, but I try to not get in that mindset because if you get to where you really really want that role and then you don't get it, then you feel disappointed. Well, if you don't expect anything or have any expectations from it, then when you don't get it, or if you don't get it, then you're not as disappointed.
Yeah. So what do you think about the statement that auditioning is a numbers game?
I definitely agree with that. Because I myself sometimes, I usually keep up with my auditions in a spreadsheet so I can look
Mhm.
back a year later just to see how many auditions I did, what shows I auditioned for, what movies or commercials or whatever the case is, and then I get an idea of what I've done and try to figure out what I need to work on, and then just kind of go from there.
Okay, excellent. So what was one unexpected challenge you faced when getting started?
One unexpected challenge I faced, I would say, when I got started is just having to do so much work. I mean, I knew it would be hard and I knew it would be a challenge, but a lot of people don't realize what goes into this process or this journey because, unless you become that 1%, or you become that actor who is fortunate enough to be able to do this full time for a living, you have to work, you have to work your regular job, your 9 to 5. You have to find time to be able to do your auditions, and you have to have time to find a reader who has time to coordinate with you. You have to invest into the process. You got to do your headshots, get your demo reel done. Sometimes you have to travel when you have to travel out of town for different projects you might book. A lot of times if you got to work local hire, you have to pay your own way. So there were quite a few challenges, but I kind of put together a system to help make it easier for me to be able to navigate through the business. And it's definitely been working for me. And a lot of those challenges that I used to have, I don't really have anymore.
Okay, great. How do you see acting evolving in the next few years, especially with
Acting,
AI?
yeah, it's so much going on in the industry now. When COVID hit back in 2020, um, a lot of casting directors went to the self-tape model, which was great for me because before the self-tape model became popular, I was already doing self-tapes because my background is videography. So I've always known how to, do angles and lighting and all that stuff for myself. So the self-tapes, that's one way that the industry has evolved. And I think it's going to keep on evolving. There's no telling what people are going to come up with. Yeah, AI has come into play and become very popular. Some people don't agree with it. Everybody has their own opinion on what they like and what they don't like. So it's definitely going to keep evolving. I think technology is going to become more and more prevalent in the industry, to where people are just going to try to make things as easy and less painful as possible.
Yeah. Can you explain to the audience what self-tape?
Yes, self-tapes means that you videotape your audition instead of being in the audition room with the casting director in person. You do self-tapes, which now it's, at least for me, I'm going to say it's 95% of all the
Usually?
auditions that I do.
Yeah.
So basically, you have your camera set up and you can use your phone. As long as you have some decent lighting, you have a blank background, nothing busy on the background because it's distracting to the casting directors. You want to try to have a blank wall if possible. And you record your audition right from home. Like you don't have to go to LA or New York or Atlanta or New Mexico
Yeah.
or just wherever the case is. You don't have to go to those places physically anymore like you did back in the day. You can just record it
Yeah.
from your phone. But there are rules that you have to follow. Obviously, you don't just set the phone up and just start recording. But yeah, that's what a self-tape is. And then you send it in. Usually you get the audition through your agent unless you self-submit. And then you send it in through whatever the site is that you got the audition. And you wait to hear back, or like me, you move on to the next audition. And if you hear back, then great. If you don't, then hopefully there's no
Go for the next
disappointment.
one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, before we move on to the next questions, let's check a clip from your reel.
Morning, Matt Dickel, Director of Facility Operations.
I'm Nick. This is Michael.
Didn't need your life story.
Who's the client?
That's privileged information. A need to know type of thing.
You don't know, do you?
My
And your two eyes are the only eyes to see the contents of this room.
So which two eyes? Because you said our two eyes. So do.
Okay, are you ready for the next segment?
Yes.
Yes, okay. What's one crucial piece of advice you would give to someone interested in acting?
One piece of crucial advice I would give to someone that wants to get into acting or that's already into acting: do not do it for the fame and the fortune. Do it because you love to do it. Because if you love to do it and you get used to doing it, then you won't have a lot of expectations. The fame might come, the fortune might come, and then again, it might not come. You just never know. Because all it takes is one great project to launch your career into the mainstream acting world. But do not do it for the fame and fortune or the glitz or the 15 seconds of fame. Get into it and do it because you love it. And make sure you're going to work hard, you're going to be serious, and you're going to be consistent, and you're going to be persistent about the work that you do. And then you'll be all right.
Great advice. So, how if somebody has a gift but they don't know they have it? How can they? How would they know that they have the gift for acting?
Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell. Some people will just be natural, just like say around your coworkers or your friends or family. They'll just be natural, and a lot of times their family or friends might say, "Oh, you're pretty good at pretending, or you're pretty good at, doing this or doing that." Then at that point, that might be a time where you can kind of consider, well, maybe I should try acting, or maybe try to get into acting or whatever. But a lot of times you might not know you have that gift. It's just certain
Yeah.
things or certain events that take place that will notify you and trigger that you might have that gift, but you have to recognize it, or maybe somebody around you might recognize it. And then if it's something you want to act on, then you go ahead and move forward. But you definitely have to take classes and you have to learn how to act. You could be natural at a lot of stuff, but there are techniques that goes into acting. So, yeah.
Okay. I think you or I was going to ask a question, but you already probably you touched on it. I was going to say, what if somebody has a gift, but they don't know what are the next steps? What do they need to do? Do they look for agents? Do they take some training courses? What do you advise?
Well, you definitely don't want to look for an agent right off the bat. You want to try to start training, get some training, take some acting classes, and if you can't afford acting classes right away, there are so many videos online that you can start watching to at least start the process, to start to kind of get a feel of what it's like. There are YouTube videos all over the place. There's a lady, a friend of mine, Wendy Elaine Wright. She has a ton of videos on YouTube that you can look at as far as starting out as an actor. She talks about different things. She explains a lot of different things. But a lot of acting coaches have videos on YouTube and
Yeah.
other places that you can watch, and a lot of them have classes that you can take online through Zoom. So there's Wendy Elaine Wright, there's Amy Linden, there's Christine Horn. There's like a lot of people out there that's doing great things, that have been successful, that want to give back, and they want to help actors.
Yeah. That's great. Great tip. Can you share a moment when you faced a significant obstacle and how you overcame it?
So there was a time where I got a callback audition. I auditioned via self tape. Didn't think anything about it. I went on and about my day, about my business. And I get an email from my agent, and he said, "You have a callback for the role that you auditioned for, and they want you there tomorrow." At the time, the callback auditions was in New Orleans, and I was far, far away from that state at the time. And so I was like, "Oh my God!" I was like, "There's no way I can be there tomorrow." And so I asked him if he could talk to casting because they were doing callbacks for 2 days. So I said,
Yeah.
hey, can you talk to casting and see if they will allow me to come Friday? Because this was on a Wednesday. They wanted me there Thursday. So I said, if you can get them to let me come Friday, then I will figure it out. I'll make a way to work because that would give me a little more time. And so he talked to them. They allowed me to come in that Friday. And so I was able to get a plane ticket from where I was at the time. So obviously I had to use my credit cards and the ticket was very expensive. But I was willing to make that sacrifice because, number one, the film was starring Lou Diamond Phillips. The film was being directed by Bill Duke, who is a legendary actor and director who's been in the game for many, many years. And there were some other big name actors that was going to be in the movie as well. So I was like, hey, I'm going to take this chance. I'm going to take this sacrifice. No, it's not guaranteed I'm going to book the role. But if I don't take that opportunity or make that sacrifice, I will never know. So
Yeah.
I maxed out the credit cards and got me a flight, got me a hotel. And I went in and I got there and the room was full of other actors. And I was
Yeah.
like, this is a callback. That's like, I thought there was going to maybe 10 people competing for the one role and whatever other roles they were casting for. But there were probably about 60 to 70 people in that room. And I was like, oh my God, there is no way. Because my flight coming back was for that evening. And I was like, there's no way I'm going to make the flight because there's too many people in here. And they were already running 2 hours behind. I was
Wow.
like, oh man. So at that point, I had to make a decision. I had to say, okay, either I'm going to miss my flight and stay here for this opportunity because I've come too far, or I'm going to just say, forget about it and just go do my flight and go back home. And then it would have all been for nothing. So I stayed and I asked the casting coordinator, I was like, hey, can you bump me to the front of the line because I really need to catch my flight? And they were nice enough to bump me to the front of the line. And I was able to get in, do my audition, and then get to the airport and get back home. And so I was like, oh my God, that was a lot. I was like, I'm probably not going to get that role because there was so much anxiety going on at the time and so many things was working against me. At that point, I just wanted to do the audition, get out, and go back home and put it behind me. Well, lo and behold, I got called the next week from my agent saying that I had booked a role. I didn't book the role I auditioned for, but I booked another role. So had I not made that sacrifice or taken that chance, then I never would have had a chance to say I worked with Lou Diamond Phillips, Bill Duke, Greg Allen Williams, people like that. I wouldn't have been able to say that. So I made that sacrifice, not
Yeah.
knowing what the end result was going to be, and it turned out great.
That's amazing. Very inspiring. So what's the one common misconception about acting that you'd like to clear up?
One common misconception about acting is most people think that it's easy work. They think you just stand in front of a camera, say some lines, and then that's it. Or they think that you become famous, or you become an overnight success. A lot of the overnight success stories are 20 years of hard work. People have been working and grinding for 20 years, but you might not know about them or know who they are, or you've never heard of them. But they've been working, they've been putting in the work. They just are not known on a national scale. Well, when they get that one project that launches their career into the spotlight, then everybody's like, oh, they were overnight success. They just started doing this and now they're famous. No, it does not work
There's not
that way.
just, yeah.
You have to put in years and years and years of work, of hard work, of getting rejected almost on a daily basis, being told no all the time. Told you might be told you're not good enough or whatever the case is, but you have to be a fighter. You have to keep going. You have to keep pushing. You got to believe in yourself, and you have to have a high level of confidence in order to make it in this business. And it's still not guaranteed that you're going to become rich and famous, and you shouldn't be doing it to become rich and famous anyway. You should be doing it because you love it and that you want to do it. And everything else, it comes
Will
as it's
follow.
supposed to come. Yes.
Yeah, great. How do you stay motivated and inspired, especially during challenging times?
It's a mindset. I train my mind to stay motivated, stay positive, because there's a lot of ups and downs. So, sometimes I'll hit a hot streak and I start booking everything I audition for. Then I'll hit a dead period where I'm auditioning. I might do 50 auditions and I might not get anything. And the auditions may have been great. In my mind, I may have felt like, oh man, I did really good in that audition, but you never hear back. You never get booked for the role. And so the ups and downs, you have to be able to have the right mindset to be able to deal with that, because if you don't, you will drive yourself crazy. There seems to not be any in between. Either you're up and you're hot, or you're down and you're cold.
Yeah,
And I just try to think positive all the time. The more auditions I do, I tell myself, okay, you're gonna book, you're gonna book, you're gonna book, you're gonna book something soon. It's coming. Just keep going, just keep pushing. I put myself in the mindset of the little engine that could. Just keep on pushing. I think I can. I think I can. That's how I do it. I get into my mindset that I use, and I try to stay as positive as I can, because you have to in this business.
yeah. So is it because of the sports that you were in the sports field before, that it seemed that helped you for um, uh, facing challenges and remove
Yes,
roadblocks and stuff, and
yes,
switch
yes.
your
Most
mind?
Most
Yeah,
definitely. Having a sports background and being the player that I was, it definitely helped me with the mindset of having an acting career, because when I played basketball, I played shooting guard. I was a 3-point shooter. So, sometimes you would have an off game. Sometimes you would have a game where everything you shoot, it goes in. But it came from having a high level of confidence. My college coach taught me to be confident. Even if you're not making the shot, you still
yeah,
believe that you're going to make that shot. And eventually that shot is going to go in. So I do the same thing with acting. I might not be getting a role, I might not be getting booked, but I believe that I am going to book a role any day. And then that mindset helps me along the way.
excellent, great stuff. Let's watch a final clip from your reel.
You need to call home.
What?
You need to call home right now.
Something happened?
It's your dad, Johnny.
It's the Colorado Christmas tour. I feel like it should end on Christmas.
Told you he was gonna say that.
Okay, is there one last thought of or piece of advice you'd like to share with our audience or listeners?
Yeah, one piece of advice that I would like to share to the audience is that if there's something that you really, really want to do, regardless of what it is, it could be acting, singing, playing an instrument, playing sports, no matter what it is. If it's something that you really want to do, don't be afraid to go after it. Don't be afraid to fail. Go ahead and do it. Try it out. If you like it or you love it, keep going. And one thing that you don't want to do is let anyone deter you from chasing your dream. Don't let anyone tell you that you shouldn't do it, or that, you're not going to be anything, or you're not going to make it, or whatever the case is. Because a lot of those people that have that negative thought, they're usually people who were afraid to chase after their dreams. So now they want to discourage the next person not to chase after their dreams. So don't ever let anybody tell you that you can't do something or that you shouldn't do something, especially your family. A lot of times family, they're not supportive. I'm fortunate that my family is very supportive. My mom is like my biggest fan. My mom is always inspiring me or always encouraging me to go after what I want to achieve. So always push forward, always give it a shot and give it your best, no matter what it is, no matter what the topic is. So just go for it. Don't be afraid to fail. You know, if you fail once, get back up and try it again.
Okay, great. So how can our audience connect with you or learn more about your work?
They can connect with me on social media and learn about my work. I'm usually posting all the time on Instagram and on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Ketrick Jazz Copeland. And then on Facebook, it's the same thing as Ketrick Jazz Copeland. I'm usually posting little clips and reels of my work that I do. And also, if you want to see my credits or anything, you can just go to imdb.com and you can search my name, Ketrick Jazz Copeland. It'll pull me up, pull my profile up, and you can see all my credits. And you can see a few clips on there as well. And I have movies on Tubi, Amazon Prime. There's a movie on Stars right now. I'm on a TV show on HBO Max. It's called Doom Patrol, and I'm just all over the place. So, and that came from years and years of hard work, of just pushing forward and believing in myself and not taking no for an answer. And so, I encourage you all to do the same. Follow your dreams, and don't let anyone tell you that you can't make it, because you can.
Excellent. And are there any upcoming projects or collaborations you're excited about?
Yes, I have a few projects that will be coming out at any point, maybe in a couple months. So there's a film that I did in Memphis, Tennessee. It's called Troublesome, and I played a FBI agent, and it should be hitting all the major streaming services here in a few months. And I also did a TV series. It's called Kingpin, and it should be out on major streaming services soon as well. I was in the last four episodes. So I was in episode 4, 5, 6, and 7, which was a recurring role for me, and I really enjoyed it. And it stars Clifton Powell, who is a veteran who's been around the acting game forever, and it also stars Jamal Willard, and it's great. Like it's a dramatic story about two guys fighting to become the next kingpin. So it's going to be great. I'm very excited about those. I have a few more projects coming up, a couple short films. I have some audition. I pretty much audition every day. I've
Wow.
probably at this point I'm almost at 30 auditions since January. So they've been coming in pretty steady, and
Okay.
I'm looking forward to be booking more stuff here really soon.
Excellent. Great. And finally, who would you like to thank or acknowledge for supporting you in your journey?
I would like to thank my mom for supporting me in this journey. And I have a lot of very supportive friends around me as well that are in the acting community that are always cheering me on and excited for me when I accomplish something or when I work on a new project. But my mom is definitely the number one person that I want to thank for supporting me.
Excellent. Okay, Ketrick, that's all, folks. That's a wrap. Ketrick Copeland, everyone. Thank you,
Yes,
Ketrick.
I appreciate it.